Hey everybody, welcome to more Heroes of the Storm content on Khaldor TV. We have more Heroes of the Storm ESL Major League content for you now. Season 2 has started. We casted SK versus Well just the other day, and today we are looking at LDLC versus the new team in the league. LDLC is going up against the Russian team. They're going up against Team Arthas. And Arthus is of course hyper aggressive. We have all seen the Russians play with a lot of Anubarak, with Tyrael, trying to go for the blood for blood comms and similar things. And that's one of the reasons why LDLC decided immediately to just ban out Anubarak and be like, okay guys, listen, we are not going to play against that. So we are jumping into the first game between the two teams, and LDLC obviously did their homework here. They were analyzing what Arthas is doing, and this is one of the newest situations here for Team Arthas. I really like it, because so far the team has only played a lot of tournaments, successfully at that, but they never really had to play in a league environment. And if you play in a tournament, their opponents of course didn't really have time to practice against Arthas particularly and to analyze their style and to really come up with countermeasures. Now in a league environment, you know who you're facing next, so you can always prepare for them, and we're going to find out now within the next few weeks if Arthas can really play on this level with that preparation that comes into play. And in the first game, we're going to find that out immediately. LDLC going up against Team Arthas here at the ESL Major League.
Cursed Hollow is the game, or the map number 1 being this best of 3 series between Team Arthas and LDLC. Here at the ESL Major League, we have to the left side of the map in blue Sefkaja on Tyrande. We have Unstable playing Falstad, Kuni-chan with Tacita, Andilendi with Jaina, and Stalk on Tyrael. To the right side of the map, it is LDLC, the Spanish team, going up against the Russians here on map number 1 with Vipolino on ETC, Hiruke, a former Well Map player, on Vala, LOL vs XD, formerly playing for El Nexo, aka Team Liquid, on Illidan, Alistair on the Lost Vikings, and Polator on Rega. I'm Khaldor with Miss Calaris, and we're going to bring you the coverage here at the ESL Major League.
Alright, excited for this one. As, you know, LDLC again, they are technically the reigning champions, but they've got a lot to prove. They're all on pink Billies. Alright then. Well, I wasn't expecting to see that when I scrolled over to them, but thank you very much, Arthus, already for providing tons of entertainment.
Also, a quick shout out to Sefka, who apparently it's his birthday today. He's playing Tyrande for his team at the bot lane now, and he told me earlier and said if it wasn't for the game today, he would already be drunk somewhere. Like, oh God. I don't know where exactly he lives, but apparently he would be celebrating quite a lot. So this is a cool game. We talked in the draft already about it. We had a ban on Anubarak, and the reason I want to highlight that once again is quite simple. If you follow the games of Team Arthas, of the Russian team here, then you know that Anubarak is their preferred tank for various reasons. So before we can get into this, we have Andilendi in trouble. He gets sniped here. Nice first kill for Team LDLC. They get the kill in here. Very well done. First blood for them. But yeah, talking real quickly about the Anubarak ban once again. Anubarak is one of the heroes that gets picked by Team Arthas a lot. They really like to play heroes that have blood for blood. They usually try to run at least 3 to 4 blood for bloods on their lineup, so that at level 16 they can drop opponents instantly. And if there is a strong healer on the opponent's team, they use Web Blast on Anubarak to isolate the healer, make sure that they get their kills in and turn it into an early 4 versus 5. Very strong composition for them. LDLC obviously doing their homework here, but they lost Illidan at the top lane now. This is not going to be an easy game. As you already said, Calaris, a bit of a cheesy approach maybe to the game that Team Arthas oftentimes has, and now here in the ESL Major League they have to prove that they are also solid and strong enough to fight out in the league.
I mean, I definitely don't want to discredit it. When everybody talks about cheesy, they kind of discredit it as like, oh, less skilled, oh, less like. For me, that's not what cheesy means. For me, cheesy is something that's like, well, you know, it's just a different style of playing the game, and it just categorizes it. Well, why isn't Illidan being careful? Oh my God, he was against 3 of them then, and will end up falling again, but. The first kill alone against Falstad and Jaina walking out that far, that's a lot of damage available to them, so I'm surprised he was going out that far against that comp.
Yeah, he needs to be very careful here, and I mean, I like what you said about this cheesy approach, because I feel, you know, in a game like Heroes of the Storm, in any kind of MOBA, if you are willing to experiment with comps, and if you are willing to just risk something and to play a strategy that goes against the meta, then you deserve those wins as well.
Definitely.
Bottom lane, Kuni-chan, by the way, eating a lot of damage from Hiruki here. He needs to be a bit careful. His shield, of course saves him for now, but still, it's dangerous. Already a level lead at this point for Team Arthas, and they are playing very well here. Those kills against Illidan up to the top lane gave them a lot of experience. Well, actually, I should probably say it denied a lot of experience to LDLC. The kills themselves don't really give a ton of experience in this game.
Yeah, it's the fact that they were missing those waves. You're entirely right about that. Stork will take a bit of damage there. Must mention, obviously, as well, he has one of the coolest names in the game. With Stork, it's such a sick name. It sounds very ominous, very foreboding, but
very Russian.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. And how do you pronounce the Sevkasia guy?
Just Sevka.
Sevka. All right, that's easy
the
enough.
full name is called Sevkasia, but Sevka is the nickname.
Ah, sick. All right, then. Well, there goes a little bit more lightning damage going down onto LoL versus XD as he's going to have to run away, and they will easily get that tribute. So, a really nice start here for Arthus against LDLC.
Yeah, and right now, one of the things that we see is once again the split on Alistar's Lost Vikings. He has them currently, one of them at the top lane. Oh, even saves Olaf here in the mid. I want to talk real quick about the build that we're seeing on Falstad, because in this game in particular, Falstad goes for the Flow Rider talent on level 4, and that's something that he has been using for quite some time. On level 20, if we get that far, we will see Nexus Frenzy for him. He has been one of those players that really tries to go for the right-click. We still see the Hammerang here, so it's not like he's gonna go for all of the right-click talents. He's still trying out the burst, but the level 20 talent that he has taken in, I want to say, 90% of the cases when I casted his games with Falstad, that was when he really focused on Nexus Frenzy, trying to get the right-click damage in. And his Falstad is pretty damn good. Like, he does a lot of damage and is oftentimes leading the damage charts.
When he takes Nexus Frenzy, does he still take overpower then? Or Overload, or whatever it's called?
He has been experimenting with like a lot of different talents there. Sometimes we see him with that, but alone the damage that he gets on the Hinterland Blast is also pretty good. I've also seen him go into Mighty Gust if on certain maps, it depends a bit on the composition on the map, if he feels that the opponent is running a setup that relies a lot on, let's say, more Apocalypse, Void Prism Apocalypse. He oftentimes goes into Mighty Gust and just denies that. And again, Illidan dying at the top. I can't believe that Illidan is getting taken out like this every single time here.
Yeah, LoL vs 60 has to be very, very careful up in that top lane now. I mean, he's had to have been in the past couple of situations. And Illidan dying, they actually felt confident there for a second to go for boss up until it was revealed there with Farsight by Rhaegar. So that was a little ambitious, but I mean, getting Illidan kills, it does mean something. They're still quite far ahead, and they will hit level 10 earlier.
And I'm very surprised because LoL vs XD is usually a very solid Illidan player. His melee assassins are great. And especially his Zeratul was amazing. On Illidan he's also quite strong, and I'm a bit surprised that he gets taken out like this so easily several times in a row right now. By the way, also talking a bit about the builds that we have for the other heroes, we've been focusing a lot now on Falstad and also on, well, the fact that we have this lineup here for the two teams. But one of the things that I want to point out is that we're having Envenom on Jaina. We've been talking about those level 4 talents for Jaina, still focusing on level 1 and level 7 on the trade, going for Frostbitten and Deep Chill, but we have now the additional talent there, so Envenom still very strong, and especially with the aggression that we see from the Russian team, this is a talent that caters very well to their playstyle.
Yeah, definitely. Gonna take one of the tributes up here, or potentially. There could be a denial from Andy Lendy, but he will be knocked off his mount there for a second by them. The storm comes in though from Kuni-chan, and even one of the Vikings gets taken out there. A little bit of a late jump. I wonder if it was on cooldown, because it was used right after the kill goes down. There's the boat, and that will be just used to disengage for now.
Yeah, that boat only for the disengage, not really of course doing any damage, just killing the water elemental. He's gonna be able to get away, but that is of course one of those things that you would like to have in a team fight then later on, so it's gonna be on cooldown for another 70 seconds.
I think with the water elemental chasing and the fact that they'd used jump just before, another one of them could have died. So I think it's a real toss-up. It's a real toss-up. It's
one of those loss-loss situations. You risk losing one of your Vikings if you don't use it. If you use it on the other hand, then yeah. I mean, right now we have still not a fight in sight, so I guess with a 50-second cooldown it's going to be fine. Shouldn't really come into play too much. Hinterland Blast taken together with Starfall on the side of Team Arthas. The Russian team also heading into Archon, the water elemental, we saw that in action already. And of course the initiation with the judgment on Tyrael, which cannot be blocked since we do not see cleanse in the game. So it's not going to be too easy to dodge that, depending on the hero that Tyrael chooses to initiate upon.
That's a good point. And Reign of Vengeance. Did you mention Reign of Vengeance? I'm not sure.
No, not yet. Reign of Vengeance taken on Vala, you're right.
Yeah? I'm not too bothered by it. Like, I mean, whichever you're going to take. Strafe is really good, Vengeance is really good.
If he goes for Strafe, he will be immediately interrupted by Tyrael.
Yeah, so... here comes the jump, though. Andy Lendig will take a bit of damage there. Vipolino, though, actually... oh my god! Well, Judgment was used in the right way there, because he actually just melted under the pressure.
Yeah, blown to pieces within seconds, and there is already the curse upon LDLC. And Arthus, there comes Unstable, aggressively flying in, trying to get the kill against Polata, but he heals himself with the ancestral healing. Coolly Chill moves into. They're going for the Vikings here. They get one kill. Oh, this is not looking good for LDLC. Bam, there comes the stun, and down goes Viking number 2. Level 12 versus level 11. 5 kills against 1, and that that fort in the mid lane doesn't stand a chance, of course.
If that Lunar Flare had been a centimeter forwards, that would have been all 3 Vikings have gone down. So, pretty crazy stuff there. There's the lockdown once again on the Blizzard, and they will be able to pick up another kill on ETC, no less. Arthus, they come out of the gate swinging almost a 2-level advantage. Wow.
That's the problem when you allow your opponent to get Jaina and Tyrande. That's the big risk that you run, that this burst damage is just going to take you down. And if you have Tyrande with a Hunter's Mark, and then not only the burst damage from Jaina, but on top of that you have also Falstad throwing his hammer, that's just lights out for anyone. And you see on level 13 now Giant Killer being picked up by Falstad, and just that caters to what I said earlier, that he's going to take Nexus Frenzy on level 20 if he gets the chance to do that. So they are really liking to play there. Oh, another thing that they, by the way, love, which we see right now, is the talent choice on 13 for Tyrael. They always go for Burning Rage on Tyrael and also on Anubarak if they get him. On both of the heroes, it's always Burning Rage.
I'm trying to think about if they had both Tyrael and Anubarak in the same game, both with Burning Rage, and I just like, well, I guess I just don't want to stand near any team fights. That's kind of horrible to think about, but... of course, it's not huge damage, but it's like these small incremental bits of damage, and especially with how you've been explaining their kind of burst potential, especially later on once they hit level 16, then that's pretty deadly.
Yeah, and, well, there comes ETC jumping in. They're trying to go for the burst at the same time, though. We're having Sevka dropping very low. He gets dropped, gets taken out here, and Stork eats a lot of damage thanks to Alistar moving in the kill against Rhaegar, but they get a counter kill against Tyrande in this case.
Kuni-chan's going to end up falling as well. He did have free science, and so he was activating that Dimensional to warp twice to try and stay alive, but there was no way out of that situation. He does end up falling. So 3-for-1 trade overall. Did any of the Vikings start? No, they didn't. So, yeah, 3-for-1 trade. Pretty good, pretty good.
By the way, we haven't really mentioned it specifically, and I think we should. I've been talking a lot about Anubarak. I've been talking a lot about the playstyle for Team Arthas. But one of the things that I feel we need to point out here is, it's one of those Captain Obvious statements, so sorry, but they don't really have a healer. Like, they have supports, but they don't have a dedicated healer in this case. Oftentimes when they go for a healer, they try to pick up Rhaegar. Again, for the same reasons that I mentioned several times, they love blood for blood and they always try to use that. But that also, of course, caters to their damage potential. They have supports with the protective shield, with also the healing ward on Tassadar, with the shield on Tassadar, but they don't really have a healer. Tyrande is doing a decent job with Flowing Light, Overflowing Light, but I still want to point that out because it is kind of important, and especially if Rhaegar, if this goes into a long game and Rhaegar gets several ancestral healings into play, then of course his healing power is just going to be so much stronger.
Yeah, they kind of make it up for the hybrids. I mean, Tyrande has gained so much more momentum behind her healing with Overflowing Light. I mean, you already just mentioned it. And it does make a big difference, actually. People will be very surprised, but it's still not a full dedicated healer. Yeah. So it is a very good point. Trusha Aura as well. They are ham on this damage.
Yeah.
They are making a fan out of me very quickly here in the Major League.
As I mentioned, they are massively aggressive. They love aggression, and it shows here. They don't really get that blood for blood setup, but I feel, depending on the drafts that we are going to see soon, they might try and get that chance. But you can really tell that LDLC was, in terms of like hero compositions, really preparing for that, because them picking Rhaegar, I promise you, one of the reasons is that they wanted to deny another blood for blood to Arthus, because Sevka usually runs with Rhaegar, since they love that. And now we have triple blood for LDLC, and look at that setup, but the burst against Illidan, he's down again!
How often do you see Illidan's dying that quickly? Especially since the multi-shot actually went in, spotted them initially. Here comes the stage dive, though. Stalker's going to end up falling pretty quick, but he can actually explode. But Hiroki, with the Ancestral Healing, that denies him from continuing on the chase. He managed to turn around very, very quickly and go onto Playday, but they still were able to take down ETC during all of that.
Yeah, ETC's down. One of the Vikings dies as well, and this is just the Russians once again going full for it. They're really trying to take this down now, and we have at this point in terms of kills 9.25 kills against 5. Another tribute about to be captured by the Russian team. In comes Falstad, goes for the snipe against Eric. It's just this aggression that we see from Unstable, jumping in like this, getting another kill for them. It's crazy.
I'm loving watching it right now. Very few people would actually just go for that pursuit on the potential that there could be even more than just the Vikings there. I'm not sure if they saw where Valor had gone from there, but Valor and the Vikings were running up towards that position. So if you do that as Falstad and Valor is there, might not go as well for you. I suppose you do have the barrel roll to actually get out of there. But still, it is a potential.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Arthus, but let's talk a bit about LDLC. They have triple blood for blood now. Yes, in those fights they need to be super careful, and I feel in the last battle one of the big problems that they had was just that massive burst on Illidan that immediately took him out. If Illidan stands a chance at the beginning of the fight, it can jump in with the Metamorphosis and also start to use the blood for blood together with Rhaegar and Vala. They can be the ones to burst down a target and really have the sustainability in the fight itself. So I feel for them, it's more about having a good setup going into the fight and making sure that they're not losing a target or one of their heroes right away. Because even though they lost most of those battles, they still have all of their keeps. They still are only roughly half a level behind. And with them not taking down a single fort right now, there's a lot of experience still on the map available in structures that Arthus has. So if they win one team fight and gain some momentum, take down a couple of those structures, they will be able to catch up in experience and maybe even get a lead.
But are Arthas going to lay a trap? As this is going to be, well, I mean, they've already shown their position and they show what the Storm is there, so not likely to lay a trap, but just try and take the full engagement themselves. Alistair already sends one of his Vikings forwards. It takes quite a bit of damage. There's the barrel roll out of there. They managed to pick up the tribute and just disengage entirely, so not too bad.
Yeah, we have in the mid lane, once again, all of them just like getting wave after wave. One of them has to move back to make sure that the Siege Giants are going to be eliminated. They're currently pushing in the top lane. In the middle, there's also another Bruiser camp that was taken by Arthus here, and yeah, LDLC, they need to be careful because they can be chased, and especially with Falstad flying in and Tyrael always being ready for another judgment. Having one hero split is always a risk. Of course, ETC can jump in with a stage dive, but they need to have him in position immediately when that fight starts, or they're going to lose another hero.
Having a few more seconds to think about that tribute fight in inverted commas just then, I kind of think it's a little bit of brilliance there by Arthus, because the tribute's on their side of the map. It's on their side of their positioning currently, so they almost delayed and baited out the fear in their opponents from their aggressive stance to then say, well, don't come over here too quickly, and then by the time the tribute is actually up and running, they can capture it pretty easily with their opponents way too far away to deny it. So that was pretty cool there by Arthus.
Uh-oh, Bellino at the top lane. Ah, he gets dropped.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry, bro.
Nah, it's so fast. Like, it's really just that damage. They rotate, they find a target, they use the Hunter's Mark and just drop him within a second. The initiation with Uther, they can interrupt every single attempt to get away. Iruka needs to be careful, yeah, but so does Kuni-chan, who gets away with the Prescience and his Dimensional Warp, gets healed again. And yeah, Arthas with another... They are cursed this time, actually, so a bit of a relief for the red team now. Time to lick their wounds.
It's so sporadic, it's like all over the place. It's a pretty... I would have a nightmare of a time playing against this style that Arthas is bringing to the table at the moment, because they're just... I mean, even just Kuni-chan over there stealing the easy camp is just something that, like, well, why is he there, but then still escapes out anyway, because he has that dimensional shift?
Stalk pauses the game, and that actually gives me the opportunity to talk about something else right now. If you look at the healing in the situation, we're having 18,000 heal on Tyrande, we have 15,000 on Tacita, and only 25,000 on Rhaegar. And at first you look at that and you're like, oh my god, this Rhaegar sucks. And then you think about the fights. And what happened in those fights? I mean, did we really have a fight that went for longer than like 2 or 3 seconds? We didn't. Every single time the battle happens, it's just the immediate burst upon a hero. Rhaegar doesn't even get the opportunity to heal anybody. I think he got 1 or maybe 2 ancestral healings through, and that's all that he got so far. That's one of the main reasons why his healing is just so low. And it explains that comp that we're seeing for Arthus again. I think at this point, we really, like, we can talk about the compositions, the bans, and the picks for like hours, and especially what Arthus is trying to do here. There's so much to talk about. I feel we're missing on a lot.
There is, and there's so much to talk about in the games as well. It's like, I mean, even one of those ancestral healings was just on Haruke when the damage was limited, where it was going to be an explosion from Tyrael, so it was slow damage, right? That was not even going to hit for a little while. So it was a very, very safe ancestral healing that was always going to hit. But anyway, here comes the jump in once again. There is a healing totem down this time as well. He's in a really, really bad spot.
There has to die, and Tyrael is already dead. This is the fight that Arthus doesn't want to fight. The drawn-out fight, the long-sustained fight, this is the one where LDLC with the lineup excels. This is the one where they are strong because they have that dedicated healer. And this time, Arthus didn't get the setup and the early jump on LDLC to move in and snipe a target. That is also what gave them level 20 now, and all of a sudden, both of the teams are on exactly the same level, and I feel that gives LDLC an advantage for a very particular reason. Hardened Shield on ETC, Blink on Vala, a Storm Shield for Rhaegar, and all these talents are designed to keep them alive for even longer.
Wow, epic mount taken on Falstad. Very interesting choice as well. Like, I don't know about you, Khaldor, but this is a beautiful game to analyze because of the varying styles that you see. Kuni-chan, though, kind of low. Is going to have that pre-science actually pop for him. Get out of there just a little bit quicker. Unstable, even with the cooldown reduction on barrel roll from Flowrider, he's not going to have time to get out.
Now on 20, I feel they are going to be in for quite a tough match. Arthus has been dominant for a long period, especially in the mid-game. But right now, with those 20 talents and the additional sustain, it's going to be more like so hard to really burst down a target, and that's when really the healing comes into play, and with the entire setup is showing their strength for the Spanish team, and they're going in once again, this time with the boss for the keep, and they're gonna get that.
This could be the opportunity to actually finish the game for them. With the sustain that they have, though, unless they're able to blow up LoL versus XT, jumps out there, gets the ancestral healing. Vipolina's going to go in a little bit, try and chase onto Stork, who Stork did pop Judgment on LoL versus XT there, so he's not going to have it for a little while.
And did you see how fast that ancestral healing hit Illidan? Even before he received any damage, they were just like, oh god, boys, they're trying to focus Illidan. Heal him immediately. In the end, he healed up maybe half of the damage, not more than that. But or half of the hit point pool, I want to say. But they needed to throw that in. And Rhaegar just knows that he doesn't have a chance. He needs to throw that in right at the beginning of the battle, or the target is going to burst it down. And now it's 82% on the core of the red team in this case.
I wonder if they could have gone for it. I wonder.
Yeah,
I mean
that bot lane
was down for a little while.
With that keep loss at the bot lane, having that pressure in here, of course, with that boss put some damage. They might have tried to go for it and risk it, but I personally think that right now they don't feel the need to do it anymore. I think if that would have happened in the mid game, they would maybe have just like tried it.
Yeah.
But at this point, I feel the momentum swings in their favor. And they're just saying, guys, this is our game. If we play cool, calm, and collected, we can take it. Because if you look at the kills, it's 10 kills against 8. All the last few fights have been going quite well for Team LDLC.
Yeah, I like that. I like that theory. They certainly had a very rough time at the beginning of this series. Don't go too far. Stork is there. He's ready. He's going to actually jump on straight. I don't think that was the best time to do it, though. His team was out of position. Eric's going to fall, though. But the Viking has come into the boat straight away anyway. Here comes the Hinterlands Blast. Doesn't do as much as they would like, though. I think they might have to disengage from this.
They don't care about the Hinterlands Blast at all. Oliver 60 goes in. Nice move by Unstable, getting away there. But Sefka, he doesn't have barrel roll. Oliver 60 decides that it's time to move back on the other hand. But to the right side, Illidan or Tyrael still being chased. Illidan is all alone. What are they doing? They're leaving Illidan alone within 4 heroes to chase Tyrael. In my opinion, a massive misplay by the Spanish team here. You can't leave him alone like that. They all chased Tyrael and they didn't even get the kill.
Wait, where on earth was Illidan?
Well, Illidan was all the way to the left. He was trying to chase down, first of all, like, he chased down Falstad barrel roll, then he went for Sefkaja on Tyrande, which made sense, but the entire rest of the team focused on Tyrael. They didn't kill Tyrael, and they just left him hanging.
And that's not good. That is not good, especially with Alistair losing another Viking here. So only one is going to be in play for quite a while now. They're actually going to fly on forwards. He might not actually even... Oh, okay, so there was actually one all the way back, but now there's only one. Ha ha ha. Save myself. Thank you very much, Falstad.
Wow, that was a bit crazy. Like, you can't leave Illidan alone like this.
No.
It doesn't work. I mean, yes, the temptation is of course there. You see that Tyrael, you think you can take him out, but it didn't really work out that way. Illidan is gonna come back. They still have one Viking alive, so at least for now they're gonna be able to save their structures there. But the problem is that with Unstable flying to the tribute, we're gonna see another curse against the Spanish team. This match is this is beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. I do love Epic Mount as well. I mean, I've taken it a few times on False Stab myself, and when you hit level 20 and you are just as mobile as you can be with it, it's really, really cool. Of course, loads of people love to just buff Hint Lance Blast, and that's great, but still, a great little style that we're seeing here from Arthus. We're going to see and try from LDLC to battle on back against this, but they're going to lose a boss.
Yeah.
And then 40 seconds until the next one comes up at the top.
The boss at the bot lane right now, I mean, the first one that they got didn't really have it too much on camera, but the first one, of course, dropped not only the bottom key, but also put some pressure onto the core itself. Stalk, on the other hand, right now is being attacked here. This is the fight that LDLC needs to win, or that boss is going to finish the game together with the rest of Team Arthas. And here comes Metamorphosis once again. He's jumping against Andy Lendy, and Andy doesn't get away, is getting dropped here. No more Jaina. Stalk jumps away on Tyrael as well, but this is a lot of damage from the Spanish team. The problem still that this boss is gonna start to take down the core. They need to move back and defend at some point. They're gonna go for Kunichan here, trying to disengage, but apparently, yeah, 2 or 3 of the heroes are already gone, and Alistair is starting to split the Vikings to make sure that he's not losing too many of them on the way back.
Yeah, I can't keep going with that. The boss will end up falling pretty rapidly thanks to the fact that Illidan is here with his demonic form and should be able to drop it pretty fast, but it's still lost quite a bit of health. And also this gives them opportunity. When you take one boss in these situations, you're likely going to be able to get the other one, but at the same time LDLC is actually rotating pretty fast, so I don't think they can.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a problem for Arthas now that they can't take this boss, but they have the potential to backdoor.
Yeah.
And that is very likely. Down to the bot lane, they're already going straight for that watchtower, so at this point LDLC knows that they are there, but they are going to take the boss before they TP back, but they know that trouble is brewing.
Yeah, Hiruka's already on the way to try and help that out, but it's very low. I think they've really underestimated this. This is going to die before they even get there.
Well, they're jumping in, and it looks like it might fall. Arthurs, they take it. LDLC with a misplay. They waited too long. They jump back, but game number 1 ends in favor of the Russian team. The Russians, they take it. Arthurs with the 1-0 in the best-of-3 series.
Wow, what a game there! Arthur's really able to win it. A few questionable decisions at the end of the game turned the tides against LDLC was really surprising to me. Once that level 20 was hit, I really thought that it would be very tricky for Team Arthas to put in the damage to take down the LDLC lineup. But then Illidan just dying over there, they had a bit of a communication problem, him dying to the left side, the rest of the team chasing Tyrael, then later on also underestimating that backdoor attempt of Arthas. So LDLC loses map number 1 here on Cursed Hollow, and now they're of course 1 map behind in the best-of-3 series. They have to be super careful about what they are doing right now. We're jumping into game number 2 on Shire, and LDLC will try to start a comeback here. Arthas, on the other hand, this time they got their blood for blood combo. So we have a really, really nice game coming up right now. Once again, the Russian team Arthas going up against the Spanish team LDLC.
Game number 2 on Shire. We have Arthus going up against LDLC again, and currently the Spanish team is down 1 map in the best-of-3 series here at the ESL Major League, since the Russians were able to take the game on Cursed Hollow. To the left side we have them now again in blue with Sefkaja on Rega, Unstable on Falstad, Kunichan on Tyrael, Andy Lendy on Vala, and we have Stalk on Anubarak. Once again, this time they get their composition, this time they get the quadruple blood for blood on level 16, and the comp that they are famous for, and the composition that they've been playing countless times right now. To the right side of the map, we're having Vipolino playing ETC for the Spanish team, for LDLC. Alistair is playing the Lost Vikings. Hiruka on Jaina, and LOL vs XD with Zeratul here, as Polator jumped on Brightwing. So right now what we're seeing for the Spanish team is trying to use Zeratul with the Void Prism as a bit of an interruption here. They didn't go for Diablo on the other hand, and as you can already see, we have a pause pause. So let's see how exactly this is going to influence the game. But that gives us at least a bit more time to talk about the compositions here before the game actually starts. Because I feel, Calaris, that in the last game we had a bit of a problem with too many things to talk about and just not enough time.
That's entirely right. There is so much to talk about, so much to talk. And you know, if I watch that game back again, Khaldor, you could probably cast the whole thing and not to say the same thing twice as you did in the previous one, because there was so much to really kind of discuss as to what was going on there. So anyway, apparently now the lag issues have been sorted, so we can go over these little talent choices a little bit.
Yeah, and talking about the talents again, I mean, we've currently been gone over the first game already, and I've tried to explain the strategy of the Russian team. The aggression that we saw in the games before is once again very transparent here. We had a bit of a different ban system this time on the side of LDLC. They banned Anubarak in the first game, and I liked that a lot since Anubarak is the go-to hero for Arthus, and now that they got the chance to take him, they went for that immediately. We have this time Reyna banned out. Apparently LDLC was scrimming a couple of times against Arthus and the Russian team went into Reyna. It's an interesting choice for me personally that they banned that out, because I've never seen them use it in a competitive play. It has nice synergy with what they're trying to go for, but I feel it's not really as much of a crucial part for the setup that we're seeing for Team Arthas as other heroes. And the idea for Kuni-chan, for Sefka and their team is to just reach 16 with the Blood for Bloods and then dominate from there on out. Interesting is going to be the choice on Anubarak for his level 10 talent. If they want to isolate a single hero and take him out of the fights, it's going to be the Web Blast. If they are afraid for Anubarak's survivability, they're going to go into the Locust Swarm instead. But I think we're going to see a Web Blast choice from them.
Yeah, that would be cool to see. I really want to see if they're actually going to go for that. No quadruple pink Wonderbilly build from them here, because 3 of their heroes don't even need mounts, unfortunately. So they will just be running a... What the?
Yep. Fastest Dragon Knight ever, 1 minute and 20 seconds into the game. They take the Dragon Knight. This one is not going to do too much, as you can already see, but I mean, every single tower kill at the beginning. Calaris is dying here. He's just like...
That was ridiculous. I didn't even see that coming. Alright.
Yeah, it's really that power that you have with a build like this that they're running here right now. And the one thing that I'm actually a bit afraid of is that LDLC is going to run into a damage problem later on. That they don't have enough damage. If we are going to see Web Blast, which is likely, since Arthas is... like, they really love to just take one of the heroes out in the fight. 8 seconds is great. Then they could go for Jaina, for example, take her out, and then suddenly there's no damage left.
I'm going to go back home to my friends and say a Dragon Knight was taken and killed before the almost before the 2-minute mark, and they're not going to believe me. It's like, all right, okay then. Well, that was interesting.
All right, talk to me again when you're sober. What
Sorry,
are you
mate.
talking about? 2-minute mark? What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, right here, as you can see already, we have the multi-shot build on Vala, we have the Smite build on Tyrael for Arthas. And what's going to be very important now as well for the Russian team is, of course, also then, if LDLC is going to attack the web. Always, of course, assuming that the web is going to be taken. Arthas really makes those decisions on the fly. They are looking at how the game went so far, and then they make the decision between Locust, Swarm, and web. They played with both, but with a double initiator, they oftentimes go for the web, and in this case, I would say it makes sense. But if the web is being used, one thing that you can do as the opponent's team is, of course, attack the web. And it's very surprising how very few teams actually do that.
I haven't watched too many pro games with it, so I know you've probably seen a whole lot more than I have. Oh my god, unstable. You actually just going to blow up? Yes, you are. Well, bye-bye, Falstaff.
Yeah, chicken for dinner today. The bird already plucked. We have Sefka still holding experience in the lane, so it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, down to the bot lane, Stork has to be careful on his butt, not that he gets squished here.
Yep. Poor Pepe gets squashed in the middle lane, so no, that bug does not want to down there. You're completely right. And, well, it looks like these Vikings are just going to be holding up top. There is a bit of a rotation going on around here. Vipolino and Law vs XD are going to head up towards that hard camp and try and take that with 2 of the Vikings. So just leaving one at the top together, a little bit more experience.
Yeah, and we have, of course, with level 7 now also jump finally for the Vikings, and that just increases their survivability a lot. Rhaegar, at this point, is still waiting for his level 7 talent. We have Farsight taken for him up to the top lane. Kuni-chan already taking the lane. There comes the shield for Rhaegar, and this is another opportunity to get the dragon. Oh my god! That last second polymorph against Andy Lendy, that was a close one. He nearly got the Dragonite again.
Oh, that would have been close, you're right. Kuni-chan is probably going to get pushed off here. There's way too much firepower for him to deal with. Has to sword on out and should be able to survive, but Dragon Knight? Oh well, that happened again.
Yep, that happened. So they got the second Dragonite already, and Arthus is playing a strong game here, and we are heading into the level 10s fairly soon, as the Dragonite is starting to push the bottom lane and takes another tower. We're having a couple of heroes already rotating to the top to de-push the lane against the hard camp, against the bruiser camp that is moving in there. And yeah, this is not going to be easy for LDLC, like not at all. I'm very curious about the level 10 abilities once again, especially on Anubarak. But this is one of those things. I've been casting countless games of Arthas just recently, and a lot of people are still very surprised by their choices in heroes. But as we could see in the last game, they
make it work. Yeah, completely. Alden Stable is going to fly straight up here and try and do a little bit more damage on Alistair as Olaf, and once again, the Dragon Knight rotates up, just wants to get the wall, just wants to get towers. I think they understand at this point. And at this level, Dragon Knights, it's rare to actually get themselves a fort, especially at this level of play, unless they're being hyper-aggressive with it. So just get some towers, get some extra experience in, get to that level 10 super quick.
Force the opponent to rotate, force them to set 3 heroes to deal with the Dragon Knight, and then you can push the rest of the lanes. You don't have necessarily to kill something. As long as you force a reaction out of the opponent's team, you're going to get the experience on a different lane. So not going for the fort is a great choice for the reasons you mentioned. On this level, we should never see a fort go down.
Yeah.
Locust Swamp.
Ooh, okay.
Yep, they're not going there. Don't feel it. Like, if that would have been an Uther game, they banned Uther, so it couldn't have been. But if that would have been an Uther game, they would have gone for the web instead. They did that a lot, but apparently in this case they don't really feel the need. They might even blow up Jaina first with those level 16 talents. But for now we're having, of course, all the talents that we've talked about already earlier, including the Reign of Vengeance for the additional lockdown.
Their aggression was beautiful off the back of getting level 10 and attaining it instantly. They were already on top of the fort. They knew they were going to hit it before their opponents. Why not be there? Why not make sure that they can't take the fight and just take that fort automatically? So a level lead, despite level 10 coming in now for LDLC.
Yeah, and we have Mosh Pit taken on ETC. On a big map like Shire, that's a bit of a surprise. Oftentimes you don't see that. With a good Mosh Pit, you can do a whole lot. Judgment can interrupt it, Reign of Vengeance can also interrupt it, and of course we're having a Nubarak there. So there's quite a few talents on the board of Team Arthas that can make sure that ETC is not going to get a full ultimate through.
Kuni-chan sees the little movement towards the bottom here, so he would ideally like his team to roam around and actually help on out, but at the same time it's not exactly the most aggressive of pushes, as Zeratul headed towards the middle as well to get himself a little bit of experience. And the hard camp not doing too bad for itself. So, but here is the rest of Arthus, aside from Falstad, of course.
Yeah, Falstad's still going for the split push experience, and it works extremely well for him. Brightwing is not up at the top lane to soak that EXP, and I can guarantee you that Arthus is going to be pretty happy to just go into that mid and late game. They know that this is when they're really going to unfold their true strength with the 4 blood for bloods that they have. And with Falstad just claiming that shrine now as well, they're in a very decent spot.
And they will grab themselves that for Vilpolino up the top. We saw Falstad actually being able to pick up that shrine, so just 1 for 1 at the moment. But this Dragon Knight, surely not going to go over to anybody anytime soon. This one will be contested over quite vigorously.
I love, by the way, that Unstable destroyed the wall here. You see that way too often not happening at all, and in this case, denying vision is going to be great, especially for a hero like Falstad, who of course wants to be very mobile on the map, but can get ganked quite easily if he doesn't pay attention for a second.
True.
And he just dies so fast. You need to make sure that you're out of harm's way before your opponent arrives there.
It's funny actually as well, because those walls are actually quite useful for Illidan's. So, like, if, say for example, if you have an Illidan on your team, ideally, you don't actually want to destroy walls. You want to leave them alive, just in case Illidan needs another escape route out of those kinds of positions.
Another thing, by the way, that I just want to point out is that I've talked about it in the last game, but look at the two initiators here. Both of them with Burning Rage on level 13. It is their go-to talent, always has been. They love it. They used it in the last game on Turiel since Nubarak was banned. Now that they have both of the heroes, they take it on both of them. So it's nasty. It's really nasty. Playing against these guys is no fun whatsoever.
This rotation forces out another easy Dragon Knight here for them. As they were trying to go up to the hard camp, they realized that they were gone very, very quickly, and they capitalized on that super quick to Arthus. So they will grab themselves another key fort here, I should say, in mid, and then probably just back off for a second, because Tyrael's not there just yet.
Yeah, we have the rotation down to the bot lane right now. And this is just an incredible good game for Team Arthas. Oftentimes they fall behind in the early game and then they come back with that 16. I keep harping about that 16 in the Blood for Blood, but if people watch these games that they've played in the last few weeks and months, they know how strong they suddenly become at that level and how they were able to turn so many games with that. But right now they even dominate at the beginning of the game. That's the third Dragon Knight, and that just is making it so difficult for LDLC. I would be like, LDLC needs a good setup. They need to win one of those fights. We haven't seen a single Void Prison. We haven't seen the attempt to go into a mosh pit. They need that setup. Now they have the 13 talent, and now they could try and go for it.
Yeah, they could. We're seeing Vipolino at the back. He grabs a mosh pit on Andy Lendy there, but at the same time it was interrupted very, very quickly. The Ancestral Healing went down on him pretty quickly, so it wasn't exactly the most efficient of Ancestral Healings, but still, they're able to keep the fight alive. Long versus XD is going to end up falling. Zeratul going down means that this is going to be a bit harder for them.
That hinterland blast hit 3 heroes! Oh my god, that was good! They lost Vala though, but they're moving in again, trying to get the kill against Hiruka. The hammer hits, and Unstable, of course. He is aggressive as ever, jumps in, tries to get the kill, gets away, and they might get Vipolino. No, not quite. Jaina is there, and with a quick blizzard, she at least covers the retreat of ETC, but that was a close one.
That was not only a beautiful hinterland blast for how many people it hit, but also the direction it comes from, because he's hitting it in a direction where his opponents are trying to flee in that direction towards their base. So it's very hard for them to divert their route when they're trying to actually get away from it.
James, is your buddy ready?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's hammer time, at least.
There it is, the 60 talent. Quadruple blood for blood. This is the time in the game, guys, when the Spanish team is going to look at the talents and they're going to be like, oh shit. Because this is when one of their heroes is going to be focused. And looking at the lineup, I think it's probably going to be even ETC. Because they can drop him, then the tank is... Like, they're not going to focus the Viking with the Blood for Bloods. Probably not going to go for Jaina either, because she is always in a position where she should be able to get the improved ice block before she dies. They could try and go for Brightwing, I suppose, but yeah, Brightwing or ETC are very likely targets here.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of scary, because the thing is that even if the Blood for Bloods don't finish things off, the one person that isn't Blood for Blooding is Falstad, who has Hinterland's Blast.
Yeah, and a decent amount of burst damage, I want to say.
Yeah, just a little
Just a bit.
Oh, dear me, this is...
And let's not forget that Blood for Blood doesn't only take hit points away, Blood for Blood also slows you down, so you can't run away from it. And by the way, Dragon Knight again. This is number 4? 5?
Yeah.
I lost count.
Before 13 minutes, it's their 4th Dragon Knight. So they're going to push on towards mid, get themselves a few towers, get themselves an extra level lead, and then from that point on, spiral out of control until level 20. LDLC is having such a hard time against the newcomers here. Yeah. Admittedly, LDLC is still... I got to reiterate this, because it's very important. Yes, they are last season's champions, but it's nowhere near the same composition and the same lineup that they had. So they have lost some power. Choosing problems. Oh, and they're going to actually try and jump in on Poleta. He takes a lot of damage.
He used Cleanse. He used Cleanse, and that helped. And Kunichan is about to go down. They didn't get the kill, and they don't get the Ancestral Healing, but they kill ETC. He just gets melted away. Down go the Vikings, but they could not take Brightwing out. Stork moves away with a Burrow Strike. He gets Ancestral Healed in the second, but LDLC is already on the run there. But thanks to the quick cleanse on Brightwing, when Turiel was jumping in, Brightwing keeps himself alive, and then comes the Void Prism. So that kind of screwed a bit with the combo that Team Arthas was trying to execute here.
Vikings popped out of that longbow at just the wrong time as Tyrael exploded on them, and then they weren't really relevant in the fight for much longer after that, but they didn't need to be, as you mentioned, with the well-played cleanse and then into actually turning it around and getting themselves that kill. So really, really well done here by LDLC to be able to prolong this and keep themselves in it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the heroes at least jumped the gun a bit on the blood for blood. I feel the idea here was we initiate with Tyrael. If Brightwing cleanses himself, we shift targets because we can't stun lock him, and he's probably already going to try and just move away, so we can't really close the distance with the entire team. But somebody already used blood for blood, but the rest of the blood for bloods went on ETC, if I was not mistaken, which was one of the reasons why he blew up so fast after the initiation with Judgment failed from Tyrael because of the good cleanse that we saw on Brightwing. So the idea behind that is actually quite nice, because if Brightwing escapes, then he used his cleanse already and you couldn't focus on somebody else. If he doesn't escape and you stun him, then you have all the time in the world to just use the blood for bloods, and suddenly your opponent is playing without a healer.
Yeah, true. That would have, yeah, it was really kind of minute and very finite details there. Is now unstable. He's going to have to try and back off against all of this. LOL versus XD misses his single Arthus spike, I think. May have been wrong there, but I think he missed it. But anyway, regardless, Angelan is going to take some damage. There comes the Interlands Blast. It doesn't really do much to Vipolino. He did have shields on him, and that Void Prism is going to actually isolate people for a while.
Yeah, Hiruka is being pressured by Kuni-chan. Down goes ETC again. Those blood for bloods just way too strong, but they lost Vala already at the beginning of the fight. A lot of pressure against Hiruka for quite some time. The first few of the Vikings are also dying here, and they're going to get more than that, aren't they? They kill another Viking. They're trying to chase everybody down, and at the bot lane it is the kill against Zeratul.
Good move there by Stork, burrowing under the trees and being able to get his impaling spikes off as well. As Unstable will chase on down. Palator really needs another blink heal to get out of there, but he actually manages to just walk straight on out. They're going to lose the keep, though.
Yeah, and that's keep number 2. That's the second keep, and also the shrines are active on the map again.
There's a huge wave pushing here for LDLC on top. That may be his saving grace, but it's very difficult. Very, very difficult at this point. Level 20 is about to hit for them. And once that does, and if he goes for Epic Mount as well, on a map like this for Unstable, Epic Mount, it is pretty ridiculous, actually.
It's the next Dragon Knight. It's Dragon Knight number 5 that they get now. They have both. Well, actually, to the top lane, Hiruka is there. Oh, and nearly the kill against Unstable, but the Dragon Knight already in the hands of Kuni-chan. He dances in the mid lane a little bit, waits for the rest of the team to join up with him. They could go for core. If they go through the mid lane and take down one wave, they will have level 20, and then they could go straight for the core and try to clear this out with a 2-0 against the Spanish team.
Yeah, you're right. Like one wave, just a few kills there, here or there. There you go. It's the perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing here by Arthus to just go straight for it. Kuni-chan taking quite a bit of damage whilst he's pushing on forward. Half health already, so maybe that will cause some problems. But they're going to take Vipolino down towards the bottom. He ends up falling. There's the Void Prism to try and isolate out and capture, but at the same time, I don't even think it matters anymore.
They're going straight for it. The blood for bloods against ETC dropped him, and here comes once again Unstable with a Hinterland Blast, and they drop Brightwing, they drop Zeratul. This, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be game. The Russian team is with their perfect comp going straight for it. They take the game. 4 bloods for blood, and the burst damage decided in their favor. A 2-0 against LDLC. The Russians with the first victory here in their first game at the ESL Major League.
And Arthus wins it again. A 2-0 victory in their first best-of-3 series at the ESL Major League. Very, very well played here by them. Again, this aggression that we see from them. And of course, in level 16, that just blood for blood comp hitting that we've seen so many times. I mean, did you see the hit point bar on ETC? Every time he entered a fight after level 16, he was just obliterated within seconds. Didn't stand a chance there. Very well played by Team Arthas. They take the best-of-3 series without even losing a single map. A great start for them into the season. For LDLC, of course, a bit of a wake-up call. They need to be careful here going into the rest of the league, and definitely need to step it up quite a bit. Well, this makes it for the day, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the series. If you did, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. I hope you had fun. Subscribe to Khaldor TV, and make sure that you tune in for more Heroes of the Storm action tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.